everyone. I'm Rodney Andrews. I'm the director of the University of Kentucky Center for Applied Energy Research. I want to thank you all for coming today. This is obviously a very exciting event for us. Moving ahead with our synthetic fuels program and putting in place a facility that allows us to do larger scale development of that and test out some of the technologies we've been working on in the lab at a scale that's quite meaningful and allows us to do much more work than we've done in the past. I'm going to keep my comments very brief and go ahead and introduce our MC for this morning. This is the Kentucky House Majority Floor Leader, Rocky Adkins. Rocky has clearly been one of the leading proponents of the development of synthetic fuels from coal and from biomass in the state, has done a lot of work in the legislature in putting in place what we need for that industry to develop here, and as a member of CAR's board has been one of our main supporters in our program in this area. So, Rocky, thank you.
Well, first of all, I'm truly honored to be back at the Center for Applied Energy Research here at the University of Kentucky, and it was only a couple of weeks ago that we were here to announce another important venture that has been basically a collaboration of the private sector, state government, the university, and the federal government. And it's an honor to be back here at the center because we get a chance to really talk about the advanced research and development that is taking place here. Not only the research and development that I believe is leading this nation in the energy field, but that is leading as well around the world. It's been a great honor for me to have the opportunity to work with these two gentlemen that are here today, Congressman Geoff Davis and Congressman Hal Rogers. We have worked together in a very bipartisan way on what I think is one of the most important issues that we have to face as a state and as a nation, and that is the issue of energy. And it is so exciting to get a chance to come back here to the Center for Applied Energy Research and really I think, promote and talk about what is going on here now, but really the advancements that we have the opportunity to really lead in the future. About 6 years ago, one of the main objectives that I had as a state legislator was to really promote, I think, an issue, an opportunity that I thought could really put Kentucky in the forefront. And with Kentucky being a coal state and an agriculture state, it only made sense that the talk at the national level of energy independence and the talk of, how we could use our resources here in the United States of America to really build a strong economy and produce the types of jobs that our people need and deserve, but also build the national security that our people need and deserve as well. Energy independence was something that really caught my attention. And with Kentucky sitting really on the cutting edge, not only having the natural resources of coal and natural gas and the agriculture community that we have that not only grows the food to feed the world, but also grows the fuel to help fuel the world as well, it only seemed fitting to me to try to do what we could as a Kentucky General Assembly to join those two industries together. And in joining those two industries together with coal and the agriculture community, it really, in my opinion, put us in a really unique position to be the true leaders in the energy field from really two different standpoints. And the two different standpoints basically is what our energy policy, David, was all about. And David Boswell is here today, who played an integral part in our team effort to really pass leading policy, leading legislation, which would put Kentucky at the forefront. We really focused on two major visions in the legislation we passed, and we happened to name this legislation Kentucky's Energy Independence National Leadership Act. And I'm proud of our Kentucky General Assembly with the policy that we have passed, which has been recognized by the Council of State Governments as a national model. And we ought to be proud of that here in Kentucky. But the two main visions that we looked at, to be very honest, was two opportunities that really sets us apart from every other state in this nation and really around the world. And those two main visions were this. We wanted this legislation to really concentrate its efforts in our opportunities to expand research and development. And the folks here at the Center for Applied Energy Research, in my opinion, it was time to bring them out of the closet and into the limelight. Because Dr. Capilouto, the work going on here is really amazing work. And to get a chance to showcase that every time we get the opportunity, we should do so. So we embarked, with the help of Rodney Andrews and others here at the Center, on helping shape legislation which would really put us in a position to be the leaders. We had a Secretary of the Energy Cabinet, Dr. Lynn Peters, who understood what we needed to really put into this legislation to really set us apart. So we looked at how can we be the leaders in research and development? How can we be recognized not only throughout this country but around the world as the place to come to have your research and development work done in the energy field? And folks, I'm happy to stand here today and say that recognition is taking place. And it's taking place because of the collaboration of a lot of different people. It's taking place because of state government. It's taking place because of cooperative effort between Democrats and Republicans working together, because when I give this talk, I talk about this issue of energy is not a Democrat or Republican issue. It's a people issue, and it's one that we must be on the cutting edge if we want to have a strong economy and produce good jobs for our people. And I believe Kentucky is in the forefront and in that unique position. The other vision that we had in this legislation, beyond expanding our efforts and our opportunity in the research and development field, but we wanted to have the most aggressive incentive package in the country to attract those companies, those energy companies, to come here, and after we develop these technologies, to make sure these incentives attract those technologies, those energy companies, the new energy technologies of the future to be built right here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And I'm proud to stand here today and tell you that that legislation is working. Today, we are here really to break ground on a project that was really the foundation of this entire legislation that we passed. And this was the opportunity basically to advance the gasification technologies and to take that gasified coal or that gasified biomass and turn it into a fuel. The basis of all of this legislation was about producing alternative fuels. Now, those of you that know me very well saw me travel around Kentucky, and while I was promoting this legislation, I always held up this bottle. And what that bottle is, and what this liquid is in this bottle, is basically a liquid fuel produced from coal. And I have held this bottle up to where I hope that every youngster, middle-aged and old, understand when I hold this up exactly what this is. This is fuel from coal. So with the abundance of coal in Kentucky and the ability to take that coal and produce a fuel, to be able to gasify that product, whether it be biomass or be coal, and produce other byproducts, seems to me to be the right thing for Kentucky to do and the right thing for this nation to do. Now, before that liquid fuel is turned into before the liquid fuel becomes this, it becomes this wax. And we always hear folks talk about coal and how dirty it is and how bad it is and all those things. Well, I happen to have another viewpoint. Bert Davis tells me that this liquid fuel is a byproduct that is used before it's turned into this fuel. That is basically a byproduct that if fruits that are apples and things like that that are shipped around the world, this wax is actually used to coat that fruit to protect it. So if you bit into a big apple this morning without peeling it, you ate coal. Anybody chewing gum in here today? If you are, you're chewing coal. So for those who believe that just one side of this story about coal is the side that you hear all the time, I'm here to tell you that because of the work that is going on here, we are mining coal cleaner and we're burning coal cleaner than we ever have in the history of time. Can we do it cleaner? You better believe it, and this technology can make that happen. So I'm honored to be here today as we break ground on really an extraordinary opportunity for the Center for Applied Energy Research here at the University of Kentucky. and to be able to have the collaboration that our legislation set forth, a collaboration between the federal government, the state government, this university, and the private sector, is basically what this legislation was all about. And I am proud, David, to stand here with you and say that it's working. It is working. If we're going to produce good jobs, if we're going to have a strong economy, I'm one that believes that if you can't control your destiny in the energy field, you can't control your economy. So today is an exciting day that we join here today to announce this technology, to be able to take gasification, which this center has put in a tremendous amount of effort in. This is their expertise, to take gasification technologies and to take the Fischer-Tropsch technologies and to be able to take these gases, clean them up, and make them operate more efficient and cleaner than they ever have. So I'm excited to be here today with all of you and have the chance to MC this program here today with all these special guests that we have. The first person that I'd like to introduce is a person that I met this day a few weeks ago. And one of the first things when he came to my office that I showed him that I was so proud of that was taking place here at the University of Kentucky was this fuel, when I said, here is what you need to learn about, and you need to learn about this quickly. Well, he didn't know if it was fuel or moonshine I had brought from Elliott County. He wasn't sure. This is liquid fuel from coal, and one of the first opportunities I had to meet this man was an opportunity to talk about the work going on here at the Center for Applied Energy Research and the opportunity that we have in the field of energy here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky to be the international leaders. And folks, we're gaining ground. We're making progress, and we ought to be proud of that, and we ought to celebrate that, but we got a lot of work to do. But this can be the place that is the place that people look to for its research and development to be done in the energy field. And when that happens, Kentucky will be in the forefront, and Kentucky will produce the types of jobs that our people need and our people deserve. I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Eli Capilouto. He became the 12th president of the University of Kentucky on July the 1st of 2011. He's a native of Montgomery, Alabama. Dr. Capilouto previously served as provost of the University of Alabama at Birmingham and the dean of UAB School of Public Health. Since arriving at the University of Kentucky, Dr. Capilouto has focused on meeting faculty, staff, and students in UK's academic and professional schools, with alumni and friends, community, and with business leaders and state lawmakers. And I can tell you he has done that. I don't know how many state lawmakers he has left to meet, but I guarantee you, Steve, it's not very many. And I want to thank him for getting out in the communities and actually looking at what University of Kentucky can do to better this great Commonwealth. He's earned many, many different degrees. He was the provost. He's been the dean and doctor of medical medicine degree from schools of the University of Alabama. In 1991, he earned his doctorate in health policy and management from Harvard University School of Public Health. It's a great opportunity and a great honor for me to introduce the president of the University of Kentucky, Dr. Eli Capilouto.
Thank you. Right. Good morning. Thank you, Leader Adkins, and through your leadership in bringing all these partnerships together, you honor the title that you have earned and is bestowed upon you, and we're grateful. And it was only a few weeks ago that we gathered. I'm starting to call these the Rocky and Rodney shows. Every other week we get to celebrate these wonderful partnerships that give us so much hope about our future. So I thank you. And I thank Secretary Lynn Peters. He joined us then, and since I've arrived in Kentucky, I've been hearing about you and your effective leadership and wisdom in guiding us through these challenging times. So we appreciate all of you and your commitment, and especially those who work in our Center for Applied Energy Research. I also want to thank the members of our congressional delegation who I have an honor to share this moment with today, Congressman Hal Rogers and Geoff Davis. Together, they have served this Commonwealth for 40 years, providing steadfast support for our center and for our university, but I know they do it because they care about Kentucky's families, and we thank you. I'd also like to thank the representatives from Senators McConnell and Paul, offices who are here today. They too have been great partners in this enterprise. Our center has 40 years of a rich tradition of blazing the frontiers. Our policies and challenges regarding global energy consumption and security have changed and changed, but we've always been there to answer the hard questions of the day. And the impact of our energy usage and policy on these things are far-reaching. Our national security, our economic competitiveness, and our basic way of life all center around the way we consume energy. And in the Commonwealth, I don't have to tell you, these issues are even more important because they're linked to thousands of jobs. One of our chief missions at the University of Kentucky is to attack the challenges that face our Commonwealth. And as the demand for energy grows, so must our ability to produce it responsibly. Thanks to the support of our federal delegation and the Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet, the University of Kentucky and our center are leading the way with groundbreaking technologies that will test the potential of finding new and environmentally sustainable ways of converting biomass to fuel. Today's groundbreaking is an example of how a state's flagship university should operate and should contribute, and how it can lead in solving one of the most complex problems that faces the Commonwealth and the nation. Eric Schmidt, the CEO of Google, a couple of years ago, in the face of this economic challenge we are experiencing, said America was going to have to innovate their way out of this. And there's no better example than what we're doing today, than a university coming together with so many partners to innovate and earn our way out of it. We work collaboratively across our schools, our colleges, and with other universities in tackling these problems. We ask the questions that others dare not ask, and we find solutions that can redefine industries and the way we live. But our announcement today is more than just about the research. It's about the way our research impacts the lives of people all across this state. And while we do this at UK, what is a delight for me is I know Rodney and our other faculty here at the center bring the next generation of learners and leaders to work alongside of them. That's one of the unique things you can do at the University of Kentucky as a student. Work side by side with a world-class investigator, a researcher, a community leader. So that's our mission, creating energy security for the state and country in partnership with all of you. And it's part of something I've called the Kentucky Promise. It's a covenant established over 150 years ago when this university was birthed. It promises to give the best education, it promises to push the boundaries of discovery, and it promises to create solutions that allow us all to live a better life. And more so to me, today's announcement is another manifestation of that promise in the commitment we've all made with one another to work for a brighter day for those who are here with us and those who will follow us. So I thank all of you for the commitment you have made in this wonderful partnership. Thank you.
Dr. Capilouto, thank you so much. And I think the other thing that conversation we had was I wanted you to always remember, and I know you will, that this is not the University of Lexington, it's the University of Kentucky. And I know you know that, and I know you remember that, and we appreciate that so much. Thank you. The next two gentlemen that I get a chance to introduce here today, the legislative district that I represent, basically their congressional districts stretch across at the south, at the west, and at the north of my legislative district. So I get the opportunity to work with both of these gentlemen, and it's truly an honor for me to have that opportunity. Serving Kentucky's 5th Congressional District since 1981, Hal Rogers is currently in his 16th term, representing the people of southern and eastern Kentucky, and is the longest-serving Kentucky Republican ever elected to federal office. He is the chairman of the House Appropriations Committee. Rogers was tapped in 2003 to lead the subcommittee on Homeland Security. His overall congressional focus is on economic development, job creation, fighting illegal drug use, and preserving the natural treasures of Appalachia. He received his BA from the University of Kentucky and also his law degree from the University of Kentucky in 1964. It's a great opportunity and a great honor for me to introduce Congressman Hal Rogers.
Rocky, thank you very much for the nice introduction. You're our champion in this whole arena, and this has got to be a very satisfactory day for you personally, and we want to congratulate you especially on the work that you've done over the years on this topic. Mr. President, distinguished guests, I'm pleased to be here on this grand occasion. This project, to me, reflects the very best that a land-grant university should be doing for its state and its people. Recognizing the attributes that a state has, and then trying to utilize that for the very best purposes for employment and for the betterment of the people of that state. And Mr. President, thank you and all of the university people for this day. 3 years ago, we announced the seed funding for this DREAM research facility, $2 million in 2009. That's grown, by the way, to $4.42 million over that period of time, so inflation is grabbing us. But it's a pleasure to join you once again to break ground now on this facility that has the potential to change the landscape of the way we produce and use fuel in the world and in this country. Rising energy costs create a huge burden on Kentucky's hardworking families. They're already struggling with economic uncertainty and a national unemployment rate of over 9%. And we need to make a more concerted effort to wean ourselves from the stronghold of unfriendly foreign countries and utilize the abundant resources right here on American soil. Coal is the single most abundant resource at our disposal in the whole country, and the basic technology to convert coal into liquid fuel has been around for decades. But now I think is the time to make targeted investments, to engage our best and brightest in the quest to make clean, coal-based transportation fuel commercially available and lower the price at the pump for American consumers and, by the way, the U.S. military. I'm confident that the groundbreaking research that is being performed by the scientists here at the University of Kentucky Center for Applied Energy Research will prove vital on both the national and local levels, particularly in the creation of high-paying jobs here in Kentucky. One of the top priorities for our military is to find viable alternatives to oil-based fuel. With this new facility, researchers will be able to vamp up their development of biofuel and coal-based fuel with a focus on reducing the amount of carbon dioxide created when converting coal and biomass to liquid fuels. There's no question that the research produced on this campus will be of great value in reducing our nation's dependency on foreign oil, to our environment, to cheaper prices at the gas pump, and then, of course, the support that we need in our armed forces. In addition to supporting the research at UK, I've been working in D.C. to expedite the deployment of coal-to-liquid fuel technology. In June, I co-sponsored the American Alternative Fuels Act of 2011. It's a proactive response to rising gas prices. It promotes the use of domestic alternative fuels, including from coal, biomass, algae, and waste. It allows the Department of Defense to enter into long-term contracts for purchasing alternative fuels. It would require the EPA to take into account both the increased demand and decreased emissions resulting from electric vehicle use in setting performance standards for new electric generation facilities. It's supported by the National Mining Association, and the bill comes at no expense to the taxpayers. In addition to supporting the research for alternative fuels, my colleagues, many of them and I, are working to trim the reins of the EPA and its administrator, Lisa Jackson. She came before our committee earlier on in the year to testify, and I told her that she was exceeding her bounds, that the regulations she was putting out were not authorized by the Congress, and that we were going to rein her in. And that's what we're in the process of trying to do. We're joined by the U.S. courts, by the way, who also say that she's exceeding her bounds. Well, her budget will suffer. The excessive federal regulations, I call it strangulation by regulation. Her extensive regulations are killing jobs, are holding back the Appalachian part of the United States of America. They're trying to regulate the coal industry out of business, especially Appalachian coal. But this research that will be conducted here, and is being conducted here, gives us a new hope. It gives us new understanding of where the nation has to go, and that's to utilize the resources that we have on and in our soil. And it's heartening to know that my home university, my alma mater, is the one that's responding to this challenge. So Godspeed to you. We want to see this be successful beyond even our own imaginations. And congratulations again to Rocky, for the leader, for his years of dedication to this project and this idea, and all of the rest of you who've had a big hand in where we are today. Congratulations. Godspeed.
Make no mistake about it, this investment, this project, would not be taking place if it were not for funding, without appropriations of money. And again, this is a collaborative effort of funding. I believe $4.5 million of federal government money that these two gentlemen and our senatorial delegation worked on very hard. These two gentlemen basically championed that effort for the $4.5 million. Rodney, I think $750,000 of state appropriation that we placed in the state budget, and $450,000 from the university. So really the whole foundation of what we wanted to see happen here at this center is taking place in this project. And I know the private sector is involved as well, Rodney. So Congressman Roger, I think you've got some kind of saying that goes like this, and this may not be exactly right, but I heard you say this one time, and I think you said a vision without funding is a hallucination. And there's a lot of truth to that, you know? I heard you say that one time, and I never hardly heard it put just like that, but a vision without funding is a hallucination. And today we're here to basically see good investments, advanced research and development, an opportunity to move Kentucky and this nation to the forefront in the energy field. The next gentleman that I would like to introduce to you is Congressman Geoff Davis. He represents Kentucky's 4th District. He serves on the House Ways and Means Committee, where he is chairman of the subcommittee on human resources and as a member of the Trade Subcommittee. He is also co-chairman of the National Security Interagency Reform Working Group. Congressman Davis attended the U.S. Military Academy at West Point. Upon graduation, he served as an assault helicopter flight commander in the 82nd Airborne Division and later ran U.S. Army aviation operations for peace enforcement between Israel and Egypt. Congressman Davis is a former Army Ranger and a senior parachutist. Congressman Davis, we're honored to have you here today, and thank you for your work on this very, very important project. Thank you.
I just wish I had the knees from back then when those hard landings began. I'd echo Hal's comments in thanking Rocky and all of you out here have worked so hard. One of the pioneers behind the scenes is Robert Adkins, who has tirelessly shared a vision over the last decade of moving in this direction. And the direction I would go, rather than revisit the specifics of policy, is maybe talk for just a brief moment about the big picture and then a couple of the issues that follow from that. On the way down in the car today, we were talking about the solutions of and the inevitabilities of some of the great strategic conflicts of the last century. And in particular, the discussion of the Second World War inevitably came up in this and some of the issues around that. And one of the things that was noted by those who became our adversaries was in both Japan and in Germany, in terms of those who had to deal with the economic issues and the military conflict that unfolded, was though those wars were not inevitable in and of themselves, once they engaged the United States of America, their defeat was inevitable if we chose to simply continue. And the reason for that in the writings, particularly in the German High Command, was not the issue of soldiers. It was the industrial infrastructure and the power of this nation and its inherent independence, lack of dependency on all of these other parts of the world economic system in order to flourish. And not only was their assessment prophetic, but it laid the foundation for us to become the greatest industrial power in history, to be the greatest influence for peace, frankly, in history. Now we step to inevitabilities today. We're in a challenge in Washington that literally, Chairman Rogers is one of the leaders on the forefront of this, trying to slow this train down of the growth of government and the reach of regulation, of a battle of worldviews, of not only what it means to be an American, but what the economy of America should be based on. And we have a lot of folks who are well-intended, but are wanting to choose winners and losers rather than allowing the marketplace and science to work themselves through for the best products, the best technologies, and the greatest innovation, of which I think this is going to be a great boon to us in the long run to come forth. We spend nearly $1 trillion a year sending money outside this country into parts of the world that are not necessarily our friends. More than that, a lot of our money has come back to us in other ways. And the ways that hurt this country in the long run, create increased dependence, and ultimately problems for the economy. The challenge that we have, and I believe that we're at a time as a nation where that old saying, the greatest source of inspiration is desperation. America is now at that crossroads. With our debt, with the internal challenges, with the economic problems that we face, we have to make some choices as a people. I believe that we're looking at one of the choices for another American century. We have the resources at our feet if we choose to use them. And as my friend Rocky likes to say, and I've quoted him often on the national broadcast, America can have a third industrial revolution if we will use the resources that God gave us to create jobs, to create a future. We have the best environmental protections of any major industrialized country in the world. And yet now we're in a battle politically to negotiate with ourselves and weaken ourselves in the world economy. If we use these resources, we will prosper. And not only will we prosper ourselves, but it'll have a greater positive effect around the world. Furthermore, when we look at the challenges that we have internally, I know university presidents were in Frankfurt this week talking about trying to fund their programs. Kuwait makes more money on their sovereign wealth fund in interest than they do on revenue from oil. We could be the Dubai of the Ohio Valley in this state by using our resources in a responsible way that will create jobs and create taxpayers instead of raising taxes, fuel innovation, build a future for all of these products, and also the ideas and the technologies that don't exist yet. Who would have thought when this university began 150 years ago that we would be passing through already 3 different generations of energy production? Now we have the seeds to move into that future. But the single greatest constraint to our move forward is the last thing that the chairman talked about, and that is the regulatory structure of those who do not have the background in business, who do not have the operational background in engineering, who do not have the operational real-world in-the-field experience with science, who are imposing ideology to pick winners and losers that are not only hurting us economically, but putting us into a place that is perilous strategically as we go into this critical new century. You referenced the Environmental Protection Agency as one. We can name another host of agencies. I could go across the spectrum of every agency that reaches into the heart of Americans. And one of the things that we have been doing to assist in this process, not simply to push forward and innovate, but since you used the term to rein in that agency, I introduced a bill 2 years ago called the REINS Act. Regulations of the executive in need of scrutiny, to restore, not on a partisan basis, this is not anti-regulation because standards are important, but to restore the constitutional balance where the people's elected representatives and senators would in fact have oversight over the executive branch to not unilaterally step in and make rules that were a part of the will of the American people. And particularly when we get into the realm of energy production, not only our state, our region, but ultimately our country is going to be tremendously adversely affected. For what I can tell you from the meetings and the hearings that I've been in is not a discussion on engineering, it's not a discussion on science, it's a discussion on ideology. And that will hurt us as a people. What the REINS Act would do is very simple. It came from an idea from a constituent, a Kentuckian, walked into my office as we were wrestling with a wide variety of regulations and economic impacts. And this particular individual was angry that his sewer bill had nearly tripled as a result of the consent decrees that had come down. I know people in Lexington, every major urban area in the country has felt this. It's an unfunded mandate. It's taxation by regulation, not by legislation and representation. And he asked me one simple question. He said, how come you all can't vote on these rules? And I had a revelation. We went back and drew up a bill, and what the REINS Act does is very simple. Any agency of the federal government that chooses to implement a rule, and I have yet in over 20 years of professional business and government experience to hear any rule actually being changed at the end of the 60-day comment period. For any major rule, one that has $100 million or more in cumulative economic activity, before it can be enforced on the American people, must come back to Capitol Hill to be voted on, standalone in the House, in the Senate, under joint resolution, and be signed by the President. What we want to do is give leaders like Chairman Rogers greater tools to rein in the government and to rein in the agencies that are acting unilaterally apart from the will of the people. Hal and I are both sponsors of this legislation. It passed out of the Judiciary Committee a week ago and will be on the floor in the very near future, before the end of the year, as a first step in this restoration of balance, so that the American people can have control of their government. I appreciate what you're doing, and together we're going to work in these different sectors, but ultimately the thing that I would leave you with is we are dealing not with simply ideas or thoughts. You know, the joke in Washington is, somebody here in Kentucky has a little bit too much white wine at an after party, after an event, and they share an idea. In the morning, they'll sober up. The challenge we've got in Washington is they don't sober up, those things become laws. And right now, the participation of all of you is so critical in this time, because referring to the inevitabilities, we have rising economic superpower in Asia, We have challenges that we're facing in destabilization across Southern Asia, through Africa, issues in Latin America, the changes that are taking place in economic patterns in the Pacific Rim. And Rocky hit it on the head at the very beginning of this. If we're going to maintain the nation and pass to our children what was passed to us by those who came before us, we must act now. We've got to dig into our own earth, use our own resources, and build our own future. Thank you, and God bless you.
Congressman Rogers, Congressman Davis, thank both of you for being here today, and thank you for your commitment to this center and to the issue of energy. We appreciate that so much. We look forward to working with you in the future. Next person that I want to introduce to you is a person that I have the opportunity to working with on a daily basis in Frankfurt on issues like we're here to discuss today and to break ground on today, but he really reaches much farther than that. I have a deep respect for our Secretary of our Energy and Environment Agency, our cabinet. Lynn Peters is internationally known for his work in many different fields. I know you know him here at the University of Kentucky. He senior academic administrative positions here at this university at Virginia Tech. He was also returned back to from retirement, a short retirement, to go back to work for Governor Beshear to lead up the Cabinet for Energy and Environment. And he served 5 years at Battelle's Pacific Northwest National Laboratory. He is a chemical engineer. He got that degree from the University of Pittsburgh. But I have a deep respect for this man. He is respected not only in the Capitol building with the Kentucky General Assembly, but he is respected as well at places like this, our academia areas, and also with private sector. He is known around the world for the work that he has done in many different areas. In my opinion, if you want respect on an issue, a guy like Lynn Peters, who has worn the white jacket, to be called a person who has actually done the work, has been in the trenches, I think is pretty special for Kentucky, and we could not have him at a more important time, not only for the Commonwealth of Kentucky, but for this entire nation. He is serving in many, many leadership positions, not only here in Kentucky, but I have the opportunity to serve with him on the Southern States Energy Boards, where we're doing some very, very important work in many, many different areas. I hope, Secretary Peters, that the General Assembly is giving you the tools that you need to do the work that you need to do to help Kentucky be a better place, especially in building our economy and producing good jobs. So if you would, give a big round of applause for my good friend and your good friend, Secretary Lynn Peters.
Thanks, Floor Leader Adkins, for that very kind introduction. And it's always great to be at the university, President Capilouto. Kentucky is my adopted state. I came to Kentucky in 1974 in an academic position in chemical engineering, and I took a sojourn into Virginia and then the state of Washington. We always knew we were coming back to Kentucky, and it's always great to be here, and it's great to be here at the Center for Applied Energy Research. Congressman Rogers, Congressman Davis, thanks for your help. I think we have to really exploit, and I mean exploit in the truest sense of the word, the brains in our academic institutions to take us to meet the challenges that we have in the energy arena. And I think that President Capilouto, as you mentioned, partnerships is the way to go. We talked about it on the LG project. I think federal, state, private sector partnerships is the way for us to really move forward. When you have skin in the game, okay, you really are going to make some progress, and you're going to pay some attention to it. But I want to congratulate the University of Kentucky and the Center for Applied Energy Research on today's groundbreaking, and Governor Beshear sends his congratulations as well. And again, I want to thank everyone for their support. I'd like to commend Representative Adkins and all the members of the General Assembly David, it was great to work with you during that period of time as well, for your leadership in promoting policies that have positioned Kentucky to truly be a national energy leader. The General Assembly has been very supportive of coal and biomass conversion initiatives, and we owe the legislative branch here in the state a big thanks for helping to make today's groundbreaking a reality. The Kentucky Energy and Environment Cabinet has provided funding for this particular activity because we see coal and biomass conversion fulfilling the goals of the Governor Beshear's energy plan. It really does meet the goals, it fulfills the goals of the executive branch in the state and the legislative branch in the state, as well as really working forward in satisfying the goals of the congressional delegation as well. But these goals do include growing our energy economy by fostering value-added industries for our abundant coal and biomass resources and finding ways to enhance energy security. As a nation, we must use all of our resources if we are to provide reliable, clean, and affordable sources of energy. The research that's going to be done in this facility will also help to fulfill another important goal, and that is to improve the efficiency and reduce the carbon dioxide emissions of coal and biomass conversion. As Governor Beshear has said, the importance of using our abundant, affordable coal and biomass resources to meet growing energy needs, both for electricity and transportation, cannot be overstated. In those words, we have to find ways to use Kentucky's coal resources in an environmentally sensitive manner and do so in such a way that our citizens and industries can continue to benefit from affordable electricity rates. The urgency to do this is more compelling today than ever as we face a growing number of more stringent federal regulations affecting the electric power industry. Regulations that will inevitably lead to higher costs for electricity generation. Kentucky's biomass potential is also significant, and our ability to fully realize this potential will bring economic and job benefits to communities throughout our state. I was in China recently, and a couple of people that were on that trip are here. But I was in China recently with a group from Kentucky touring several coal-related sites and facilities. The trip reiterated for me just how important coal will remain as the leading fuel source globally over the next several decades. The type of work underway here at the Center for Applied Energy Research, therefore, has global implications. In China, they are looking for the best technology to improve the efficiency of their coal conversion processes and other related coal activity. And it's not just in China. Other growing economies will be doing the same thing as well. So coal is a global resource. It's a resource that we have to take advantage of and use responsibly to meet our energy needs. We should all be proud of the Center for Applied Energy Research for its accomplishments in the past and for its vision for the future. It's certainly a pleasure to work in partnership with Dr. Andrews and others at the Center on this and many other vital energy projects. Good luck in the future, and we look for great additional things to come. Thank you very much.